Okay, hi guys. I think I'm live now. Please do let me know in the chat if you have any doubts or queries. We were supposed to do the stream at 7:30, but something came up, so I thought I'll do the stream at 6:30. It will not be a very long stream. It will be a stream for around say 20 minutes or so. I wanted to basically do the stream because there are around 6 months left. May has already come, and I wanted to remind all of you that this is the time for you to really get started. Don't waste time on unnecessary things. If you are a fresher, your exams would have either been completed or they're close to being completed. If you are somebody who has taken CAT before, many of the results are actually out. There are one or two results remaining, but more or less it is clear for people if they're going to take CAT again this year or not. So if you have suffered any disappointment, don't worry and don't dwell into that sadness for too much time. Focus on the goal that is in front of you. This is the time for you to really get back on your feet and start preparing. This is basically what I wanted to tell you. If you have any doubts, you can always ask in the chat. After answering a few doubts, I'll tell you what I think you should do to score 99 plus, especially if you're trying to score much higher, say 99.8 or 99.9. I'll tell you what exactly you have to do in all the three sections, that is verbal, LRDA, and quant. But before that, let me answer one or two questions that is there. Okay. Sir, I'm extremely bad. How to start? Should I do NCERT of class 7, 8, 9, 10? This is asked by Aman Singh. Aman Singh, I think that is actually a very good idea. Many people who are preparing for CAT, some reason they have, not all, but some people have a issue that, okay, how can I do maths of 8th class or how can I do maths of 9th class? Because of which they don't want to actually go through it. But if you look at it, many of the questions that are asked in arithmetic especially are basically 8th standard maths. So definitely, I would say it is not at all a bad idea for you to actually go ahead, buy that book of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and first understand everything that is there. If you actually understand everything that is there, you are definitely going to do much better than what you're going to do now. This is especially true for non-engineers. So non-engineers, if you're just about starting, definitely I would suggest NCERT books from class 8, 9, 10. If you are struggling with class 8, there is no problem if you actually go and buy class 7 books. Again, nobody is going to judge you. You don't need to tell any of your friends if you are having any of those issues about telling somebody that I'm doing class 7 maths. Because if you think about it, quant in CAT for most part is actually class 8, 9, and 10 maths. It is nothing brilliant or nothing which is like rocket science. The only issue is that you have to do questions much faster. Speed is basically an issue. Otherwise, if you give CAT paper to any 10th standard student, any smart 10th standard student, and you give him infinite time, I'm sure he's going to do extremely well. It won't happen that he won't understand any question or something like that. If you give the CAT quant paper to some smart guy who is scoring say 95 in maths, and instead of giving him 40 minutes, suppose you give him 1.5 hours for 22 questions. I'm sure he's going to answer most of them correct if you give him more time. The only problem with respect to CAT is you have to increase your speed. So basically, the concepts are the same. Speed is the issue. So I would definitely say if you're just about starting your preparation in quant, and if you're struggling with quant, I would say going through the class 7, 8, 9, 10 books of NCERT is not at all a bad idea. Okay, guys, please don't spam, man. Shivangi, there is no reason for you to spam, Shivang Singh. I would anyways read your chat, no? So what is the reason for spamming? Guys, please do like the stream. We have around 20 to 30 people who are watching the stream live. Please do like it so that more people can see it. Shivang Singh is saying 776 general non-engineer male 0 workx. What percentile for black and FMS? I would say your profile is not ideal. An ideal profile would have been 998 or 988. Something which has at least one 9 would have been great. You have 776. So I would say this is not ideal, but you have some advantage, which is the fact that, thank you, which is the fact that you're a non-engineer. So you'll definitely get some points for diversity. Having said that, I would say many of these things are not in your hands. What profile you have is not in your hands. What grades you scored in your 10th and 12th and graduation is not in your hands. Whether you're an engineer or non-engineer, again, not in your hands. Most of the things which are related to the profile are not in your hands. So don't dwell too much into it. Focus more on what is in your hands. What is in your hands is increasing your workx. So try to find a job, get start accumulating workx points, and focus on doing well in CAT. If you want to know the exact percentile that is needed to get a call from any of these top institutes, please Google search Cracku IIM call predictor. Once you Google search Cracku IIM call predictor, you will get a page on Cracku. You have to enter your details of your profile, and you'll get the exact percentile that is needed to get a call from most of these top institutes. Okay. Mike is saying approximately how many people score more than 90 percentile and how many score above 99.9 percentile. So you can do the math. There are say around 2.5 lakh people who take CAT. Out of that, if you're scoring 99 percentile, you're in the top 1%. So 1% of 2.5 lakhs is 2,500 people. So 2,500 people approximately get 99 percentile in CAT. How many people get 99.9? That is one tenth of it. So around 250 people get above 99.9 percentile in CAT. Immutable is saying, guys, again, if you're asking these questions, try to post your name so that I can address you. In general, I don't like to answer anonymous queries, but still I'll answer it for now. But from the next time, if your name is not visible in your username, please do post your name also so that I can address you with your name. Immutable 23 is saying, good evening, sir. Thank you for doing this. I'm a CAT repeater, scored horribly in LRDA 40 percentile. Problem was solving for psychological satisfaction, but I'm scared now. How do I overcome this? Okay. I'll tell you the tips. I told you that I'll tell you tips for Quant, LRDA, and verbal, right? So while answering the query for immutable 23, I'll also tell you what anybody should do to score very well in DLR. The first thing I wanted to tell you is DLR is not something that you can plan. You can plan, you can have a very good strategy to do very well in verbal. You can have very good strategy to do very well in Quant. What I mean by that is many times when I meet people who have taken CAT multiple times, I'm not talking about faculty, but even students who have taken CAT 2 or 3 times, their scores in verbal and Quant many times are consistent. For example, if there is some candidate who has scored say 99.2 1 year overall and 99.4 the next year and 99.6 the third year, you will notice that his scores in Quant will more or less remain the same or maybe slightly improve. Similarly, his scores in verbal also more or less remain the same or can improve, especially if somebody has noticed that, okay, verbal is my weakness and I want to score very well, their verbal scores also can improve. But that uniform pattern of improvement is definitely not always present in DLR, because DLR sometimes you do very well, sometimes you don't do very well, especially because if you are slightly lucky on that particular day, you get an entire set correct. It is not about individual questions, it is about an entire set. So that is one thing that you have to identify. The second thing you have to identify is if you're trying to score 99.9 percentile or 99.8 or 99.9 percentile, you should do extremely well in one of the three sections, either quant or verbal or LRDI. For all the reasons that I mentioned, it is better for you to make that real area of strength to be either quant or verbal, because they are much more stable, much more consistent. So you have to aim to score extremely highly in these two. If you do very well in LRDA, that is a bonus, that is an added advantage. Otherwise, I would tell you to keep your targets low in LRDA. The normal target that I tell anybody, especially from a psychological standpoint, is that you should try to get 2 sets correct out of 4 sets or 5 sets. Recently, they are getting 5 sets, but even if there are 4 sets, your aim should be to get 2 sets correct and make educated guesses in the TITA questions. So that way, you are going to do very, very well. If you're actually going to get 2 sets correct and say 1 or 2 TITA questions correct, there is an extremely good chance that you will score definitely 95 percentile plus, but in many cases, even 99 percentile. Now, if you think about it, if you tell yourself that my whole game is to get 2 sets correct, and then it is imperative that you are selecting the easier sets. So if you're spending some time, say 2 or 3 minutes at the start in going through all the sets, then the chances of you picking the right sets becomes easy. Secondly, what I notice normally is, when this might change from people to people, but for me, if I get a sense of the set first and then I start attempting it, I'm able to solve it quicker. If I have no idea about the set and if I'm trying to solve it, sometimes I take more time. What I mean by that is, if I spend the first 2 or 3 minutes going through all the 4 or 5 sets, get a rough sense, a mental map of what this set is, what is the context of the set, what is the type of set this is it a missing values in the table, is it a Sudoku, is it a Venn diagrams, is it a DI set, something or the other. If I have some mental map when I'm browsing through all the 5 sets, and then I come back to solve this particular set, once I make my priority order and I come back to solve one set, by this time I have some idea about what that set is, and I'm much more relaxed because somehow I feel that I have a lot of information about the entire section. I know that there are 5 sets. I know that there is one set in Venn diagrams. I know that there's a set in DI. I know that even if I get stuck in this set, there is another set which seems solvable. So there is less confusion in my head. So even my composure seems much better when I go through all the 4 or 5 sets in the first 2 or 3 minutes. Now, the first 2 or 3 minutes, basically at the end of the day, you're kind of wasting, but you're wasting it to ensure that you're much calmer. You're much calmer. You have a good idea. You're not confused. If you get stuck in a set, you're not confused which set to attempt next because you have your priority order already made. So for all of these things, and like I told you earlier, you have to really believe that you have to get 2 sets correct. That is it. Now, this is not something I would advise any person to do in verbal. In verbal, I wouldn't say that, okay, attempt only 15 questions out of 24. I would ask you to attempt all the questions in verbal. This is not something I would ask you to do in quant. I would not say that even before you go into the examination, your target should be scoring 10 questions correct out of 22. That is not what I want to tell you. If you're aiming for 99.99, your aim has to be to score as high as possible in quant. But in LRDI, just for the psychological impact, I would tell you that you have to really believe that if you're getting two sets correct, that is sufficient. And that is genuinely sufficient. If you do very well in verbal and quant, and if you get two sets correct in LRDI, that is definitely sufficient for you to get 99.9 plus. That is something I would want you to go with. Now, if you're getting two sets correct very quickly, then you have to again tell yourself that I just need one more set. I don't need to solve the entire paper. I have like say 15 minutes or 10 minutes left. That is sufficient time for me to get one more set correct. That is basically how your mental outlook has to be. Second thing I would tell you is don't underestimate the importance of TITA questions. TITA questions in DILR are super important. Many times, like recently only I met one student. I interviewed him. I actually put it up that interview even on YouTube. You should definitely check it out. He's a student who has 3 years of gap for UPSC, and he was attempting the paper, and he got stuck in LRDA. And he remembered that TITA questions are very, very important. And he marked 5 TITA questions, out of which he got 2 or 3 correct. Now, it is not random luck. It is not luck that he got 2 or 3 questions correct, because that happens to me also. Many times, nearly always, every year, I get at least one TITA question correct, because you're making educated guesses. If you're looking at the paper and if you're looking at the TITA question that is being asked, many times the answer is a number between 1 to 10. How many arrangements are possible? What in which round did this happen? Something or the other, which basically would be a single digit natural number. Again, if you're roughly going through the set, you're not solving it completely, you kind of know that it will be either 4 or 5 or 6, something where you know that you can rule out, like say if it is a single digit number, you can rule out it's not 1 or 2, or it is not 9 or 10. Somehow you can get that interval. Now, if you're making those educated guesses, and if you make 3 or 4 educated guesses, at least one of them will turn out to be correct. And in many cases, if you're attempting a lot of mocks, and if you take these educated guesses in TITA very seriously, your skill there also improves. So many times you get 1 or 2 questions correct in TITA. Never ignore it, especially in the last few minutes of LRDI, where tension is high, like stress is high, but you should still keep your calm and try to get 1 or 2 TITA questions correct. Now, in that particular case of the guy with 3 years gap for UPSC, those 3 TITA questions in LRDI made all the difference. Now he has converted IIM Ahmedabad and is going to join it. But say in the last few minutes, if he panicked and if he didn't guess these 3 questions in TITA, he was losing 9 marks. With scaling and all, maybe he would have lost 10 or 11 marks. That would imply that I don't think he would have even gotten a shortlist for IIM Ahmedabad. So those educated guesses in TITA is super important. I don't want you to ignore it. Saurabh Charlie saying, good evening, sir. Are you still hiring for the role of content manager? Yeah, man, we are hiring actually. Um, so if you're somebody who has scored above 98 percentile in one of the 3 sections, quant or verbal or LRDI, please do send a mail to hr@cracku.in. We have 2 or 3 positions open for content manager. We have filled around 5 or 6. We are looking for another 2 or 3 people. Any good person who is looking to join us, please do send your resume and your CAT scorecard to hr@cracku.in. Chaitya Shah is saying, sir, till when can we expect MDI and IFT results? I don't know, man. But I would expect most of the results to come in the next 2 weeks. Nearly all the results, I think, should definitely come by the end of in the next 10 days or so. Okay, how to strengthen LR, sir? One thing I would tell you is, if you're looking to strengthen in LR and DI, I would ask you and I would recommend you to solve the previous year's papers. I would not tell you anything else. It is completely free. I don't even want to push our CAT study room or CAT daily targets, which I'll come to later. If you're looking for free resources, and I would actually tell you that if you're using the free resources very, very well, that I think at least is going to be a extremely good first step. Extremely good first step where you actually feel that even just by using the free resources, I have made so much progress. That I would actually tell you to definitely do. So first, go and download the previous year's papers, the PDFs. The PDFs are available completely for free on the Cracku website. You have to just go to cracku.in/cat previous papers. Download the PDFs of all the previous papers, starting from CAT 2025. Go back to say CAT 2020 or CAT 2019. You have LRDI sets. Try to solve those LRDI sets in as much time as needed. Don't worry about how much time it is going to take, but try to solve them in your own pace. If you get a set correct, even if you're taking a lot of time, the confidence that you gain will be immense and it will be extremely helpful. So that is the first step I would ask you to do. Download the previous year's papers. You can download it for free on the Cracku website. Download the CAT previous year's papers. Try to solve the LRD sets in your own time. That I think is the first thing I want you to do. It is pretty good. Do it. The second thing is, if you're looking for materials on Cracku, we have Cracku Study Room. Study Room, or the question bank that we have for CAT, is extremely popular. We have thousands of questions with many of them having detailed video solutions. So if you are enrolled to any of the packages for Cracku, definitely start using the Study Room. You can solve LRDI sets, multiple LRDI sets. You get a diverse set of LRDIs. Once you keep solving it, you also keep gaining some confidence. You feel that, okay, I have solved this kind of an LRDI set. After a few weeks or after a few months, you're able to identify the type of LRDI it is. If you're able to identify the type of LRDI it is, that again is a huge step. Remember what I told you when I start attempting the LRDI section. In the first 2 to 3 minutes, I scan through the LRDIs and I try to figure out what is the type of LRDI this is, and I try to make a priority order of which LRDIs to attempt first. Now, because I've solved thousands of LRDIs, I'm able to assess the difficulty and I'm able to assess the type of LRDI it is very quickly. Now, that is a skill that you're only going to gain if you solve hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of LRDI sets. Now, Cracku Study Room is a very good resource for getting those kind of LRDIs. Otherwise, you can take the Cracku daily targets. Cracku daily targets, you get one LRDI, one quant test, and one verbal test every single day. So do those Cracku daily targets also, especially for LRDI. It will help you quite a lot. Okay, hi Varun Reddy. Sir, thank you for everything. I enrolled for Cracku test series for 3 years. This year I got admission from IIM Bangalore. My name is Varun Reddy. See, these are the kind of messages which make my day. I'm so happy. Today also I actually interviewed three students of Cracku. Two of them converted IIM Ahmedabad and one student converted IIM Kolkata. So we did a small podcast. It was actually a pretty long podcast. We will release it on YouTube soon. But again, when I hear these kind of success stories of students who have done well in CAT and they feel that Cracku has helped them somewhat in doing well, it makes me feel so satisfied and so content. All the best, Varun. I hope you study well in IIM Bangalore also. Shivam Srivastava is saying, sir, what is a good score in Dash Cat if someone is aiming for 99 percentile in CAT 2026? I think that's a good one. I'll actually tell you what happened in today's podcast also. I told you, I interviewed two guys who converted IIM Ahmedabad and one guy who converted IIM Kolkata. Where I was interacting with all of them. I was asking them how many Dash Cats they took, all of this. Now, the thing that I remember is the IIM Kolkata guy, the person who converted IIM Kolkata, he was telling me that when he started taking Dash Cats, initially he was not doing too well. He was scoring around 50, 60. Slowly it started increasing to around 80 to 100. Okay. Even the I'm Ahmedabad guy who also was telling the same, that initially when he was taking dash cats, he was not doing too well and he was feeling like slightly intimidated by the scores on the leaderboard. Many people were scoring 120 and 130 and he himself was scoring in the 70s and 80s. So even he felt that, okay, am I doing well? Am I not doing well? But slowly, when they were doing a lot of consistency, when they were taking a lot of mocks on a regular basis, both of their scores started improving. So what I would tell you is, don't worry about where you're scoring now. Don't worry about what is the score right now. Just take mocks regularly and analyze mocks regularly. Make it a habit. I'm sure your scores will improve. But in general, if you're aiming for 99 percentile, the scores right now are not super important. But the scores in say September or October, you have to hit you have to hit 80 marks at least occasionally. Then I think you are definitely in with a very good chance of scoring 99 percentile. But again, like I mentioned, the scores right now are not at all, are occasionally important, but not super important. What is important is the consistency that you're going to have. Start taking mocks from now on. Take mocks religiously, very, very important. And hopefully your mock scores will improve with time, which I'm sure will happen. But your scores in say September end, I think will start mattering. In September end, if you're able to touch 80 sometimes, the score 80 in some of the mocks, I think you are definitely in with a very good chance of scoring 99%. Chaitya, sure, sir. How good are colleges like MD and IFT? Should one join them for having a good future in marketing field? I would say it depends on your profile. I keep advising a lot of students. Many people at this point of the time, they call me, they ask me, okay, this is my profile, these are the calls I have. Should I take CAT again or should I join whatever college I have? All of these things. I would say that unless there is a very good reason, I would say just do your MBA, take whatever college you have and do it. The exceptions as to why I would say you have to repeat and take CAT again depend on a few things, and I would say these are all of them have to be present. One, you should definitely have a job. If you have a job, I think if you are taking CAT again, that's fine because there is low risk. You have something to fall by. The second thing I would say is your profile has to be good. You should be a 998 kind of a guy. You should have at least 1 9, okay, and maybe two eights, 988 or 998. I would say because your profile is good, your work X will increase, and so your CAT score needed will be lesser. Or if you feel that this time in CAT you messed up, clearly there are ways in which you can improve your CAT score tremendously. It is possible that on the day of the examination you choked in verbal or LRDI, or you didn't prepare enough. There are clear identifiable causes that this is clearly fixable, okay, as far as CAT is concerned, and I'm going to fix it. If you have that kind of an attitude, even then I would say you can repeat, okay. But I would say all these three have to be present. Definitely, please don't repeat if you're having a gap year. Please don't repeat if you're having a if you're jobless. Find a job and then think of repeating. But without a job, if you're attempting CAT, that is a bad decision. Because many times on the day of the examination, you will feel so much pressure if you are taking the examination without a job. And I interact with so many students. I interact with so many students who did well. I interact with so many students who don't do well. Please listen to me. Taking or repeating CAT without a job in hand is just a very bad idea. Please don't do it. Find a job or just join whatever MBA college you get, because otherwise you will regret it later. And I hear those kind of stories so often, and I feel, why didn't anybody advise them at the start? That is the reason I'm like slightly passionate about not repeating or not or advising students to not repeat without a job. Thank you, sir. I'm Sarah. Is there a ballpark figure of the number of sets to solve in LRDA before one starts taking mocks until the day of the exam? I would say take 2 or 3 LRDA sets consistently, or take say 2 LRDA sets every single day. I place a lot of emphasis on consistency. So even if you are taking one I would say is too little. Try to solve 2 LRDA sets every day. That is sufficient. Okay, 2 LRDA sets every single day from now till end of September. Every single day you do it, and after September you can increase it. But if you're doing 2 LRDA sets, I'm sure there is no way you are going to. If you're doing 2 LRDA sets every single day from now till end of September, there is no way you will struggle in LRDA on in the examination. You will not even feel nervous because you have solved so many LRDA sets. You will not even feel this nervousness or anxiety that a lot of people have, because you know that you have to just solve 2 LRDA sets on the day of the examination. Okay, I think I already talked about Quant. Archa Singh is asking how to improve in quants, but I'll again repeat it. Quants in CAT is basically just NCERT books for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Now, solve a lot of them. That is one. Second is focus on the three important topics: arithmetic, algebra, and geometry. You should be very good at all three of them if you want to score above 99 percentile in quant. All three are non-negotiable. You have to be pretty good at all three of them: arithmetic, algebra, and geometry. But the point is, they're not very, very difficult. At least arithmetic and algebra is just direct class 8, 9, and 10 of NCERT books. So try to buy them and try to solve them. The second thing I would tell you is, again, like LRDI, try to solve questions from previous year's papers. They're completely free. Try to understand the questions. Again, even in quant, if you're understanding the question, that I think is actually a pretty big deal. Many times the question itself intimidates students, especially if the question is long, or if it has some fancy words. People or if it has, like, say, functions or logarithms, some people tend to get intimidated. Now if you're able to read the question, understand what it is definitely progress. The next step in progress is knowing the first step. If you know the first step, many times you can actually solve the question. Now all of this will depend on you having your concepts right. So I would tell you, please go through the basics. If you're looking for videos, there is one video that's highly made. I think it's a very useful video. It was a video that we made, I think, around 8 to 9 years back. It is complete quant revision for CAT. Please go through it. Another very good video that we did last year is a stream of around 7.5 hours. That also I think you will find it very, very useful. It is a stream on complete formula revision. Definitely go through that stream, because we have explained the formula and we have solved one question based on the formula. So in just 7.5 hours, if you watch it properly, you will make tremendous progress in your quant preparation. So definitely do watch that stream also. We'll post the link for the stream in the chat. I think these two are sufficient for you to do pretty well in quant, at least as a start. After that, it all depends on how many questions you solve on a day-to-day basis. In this aspect, I wanted to tell you about one student. She was a girl. I unfortunately forgot her name, but I remember what she told us. She didn't do well in quants. I think she was a non-engineer the first time she took CAT, and then she subscribed to our study room. And I do. We have a dashboard where we track how many study room tests each of our students is taking. And this girl used to take so many this study room tests, and she did very well in CAT. I think she converted IIM Bangalore, and again I was interviewing her because she did very well, and I interview all the people who did well. And at that time, I remember she was telling us that, sir, I didn't do well in quant, and I thought I'll do everything in my hands to improve in quant the next year. So once I started doing the study room tests, I thought I'm going to just solve all the questions that are there in study room. And if I solve all the questions that are there in study room, I'll definitely become very good at quant. And I thought that is such logical, very, very logical and very like strategic way of thinking. And also there was a quite sense of determination. She knew that if she has to improve, she has to work hard. And she felt that, okay, this is a target I'm setting myself. I am going to finish all the questions that are there in quant in Cracku study room. And she did that. And we used to track her progress also. And we used to feel, I used to feel that, okay, this is one very, very focused girl. Because again, like I said, I really appreciate people who are consistent. Just solving hundreds of tests one day and then not doing it the next day or the next week is not something that I really like or really respect. But in her, I could see that consistency. Every single day, she was solving, like, say, 30 to 40 questions every single day. And I used to feel, okay, this is pretty nice. And it actually worked out also. So, yeah, that is one thing I would tell you. If you're looking to improve in quant, solve as many questions as you can. If you solve a lot of questions, it is imperative that your speed will improve and your accuracy will improve. Okay, guys, I'll answer two more questions before ending the stream. I don't want to do profiles, man. Please don't do profiles. Profiles, if you're looking for profiles, please do go to the Cracku I am call predictor. And there, if you put in your profile results, you will get all the percentiles that are needed. Okay, I'll give one last tip. Striker baddie. How many marks to give before actual cat? I would say it varies, man. Like the I'm a guy I met today took 80 mocks. I thought 80, and he was actually telling me in the podcast that, sir, I know you said you should not take a mock every day, but for me it was working. So he was taking more than one mock every day. Again, it is different for different people. That is again a strategy I would not advise. I would say if you're taking around 25 to 30 mocks regularly, and if you analyze them, I think that is more or less sufficient. But again, things are different for different people. Okay, I'll give you one last tip with respect to, please do like the stream, guys. We have only 30 likes and we have more than 40 people who are watching. I'll give one last tip about how to improve in verbal. If you're looking to improve in verbal, what I would tell you is very simple. I want you to inculcate a habit of reading. Every single day, I want you to read 3 or 4 articles from the big websites like the Hindu, Indian Express, the Guardian, all of this. And basically try to, if possible, read diverse set of articles. It should not be that you're reading article from a particular topic or only articles in topics that interest you. I want you to read articles from different topics so that you get a diverse variety of inputs. Because suppose a question comes or an RC set comes in the examination in a topic that you're not familiar with, I don't want you to feel flustered or find it difficult to concentrate. So read a lot of articles and solve 1 or 2 RCs every single day. I think that is sufficient. Okay, guys, that is it for today. If you have any doubts, any specific doubts with respect to your CAT 2026 preparation, please do leave a comment below. I will look at all the comments and I'll try to respond to them. Also, please do like the stream and please do share it with your friends.